Welcome to the It's Raina Crafts podcast. My name is Raina, and you can find me under Instagram and Ravelry under SF Chick. Today is Wednesday, September 20th, 2017. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm coming to you from my living room. And today I have some finished objects. Partially finished object, whips, and some general chatter. So why don't we get started? I also live with my husband and my cat and my son, who's 6 years old, who will be 7 next month. So my first finished object is my socks. These are Yankee dyer that I got in Merino cheap-in wool out of the snurple colorway, and this is the best way to do it, to show you both. So I made shorties. They're not blocked yet. I think I did 10 rows of ribbing and 30 to 35 rows of stockinette before I split for the heel, and then I went down the foot, and I finished these 2 weeks ago. Last week. They haven't been blocked yet. I've been very busy. I haven't been home this week very much, except for today. So so I enjoyed that yarn very, very much. I'm not a purple sock girl usually, but I remember standing in her booth with a friend who was talking to her, to the dyer, and I kept looking at this yarn. And I'm like, okay, I give in, I'm gonna buy it. So I bought it. And I had it in my brown bag sock collection that I just pulled out of the bag and said, okay, these are my next socks I'm going to knit. So I forget when I finished it. I usually turn off all my Wi-Fi when I podcasts because I have pop-ups and everything that distract me. So the next finished object, or partially finished object, I bound off the body of my sweater. This is the Calligraphy cardigan by Fettig. I have a big giant hole in my sweater, I just noticed. But the body is done. Right here is where I have my big giant hole. I did the collar. And then I bound this off on Saturday. I'm going to go to my friend at my local yarn store and have her help me with the sleeves, show me how to join the sleeves. And then after the sleeves, there's a 3-inch button band that I need to knit, and it will be done. And I had to find buttons for it, and it'll be done. But I'm not worried about buttons right now. I'm worried about the sleeves. So, excuse me. Have a sip of my coffee. And oh, that's good coffee. I think the coffee I'm drinking is Dunkin' Donuts. No, it's the Panera coffee. It's Panera hazelnut cream. I usually have it when I'm in California visiting my mother. And then I found a bag of ground hazelnut cream coffee at the grocery store when I was there the last time, a few weeks ago. So, that is my whip and hot whip, my finished object and my partially finished object. Pofo. So, why don't we get into whips next? So, I have not had much knitting mojo lately, and I will share that with you later why. But I am knitting on 2 socks in tandem. They're 2 different colorways. This is in my yarn bowl that I got for Christmas from my mother's friend Carol and Jay. So the yarn in here, it's a gobstopper ball. It's from Stray Cat Yarns in New Zealand. I'm almost finished with the gusset on this sock, and then I will go into the foot, but I love this colorway. You know, it said strawberry shortcake, and it totally reminds me of strawberry shortcake. I was an 80s child. So I did 10 rows and 40 rows, and then a heel flap and turn, and now I'm on the gusset. And that's my first sock in my yarn bowl. And then the second one I just got the other night. We went to a paint your own pottery place back in July when my nephew Camden turned 5. So they were painting their letters, and I'm like, I'm gonna paint a yarn bowl. So this is my yarn bowl that I painted. It's blue on the outside, and it's purple on the inside. And this is Prancing Pig Pottery in York, Pennsylvania. And then I painted speckles on it. And you could see my initials on the bottom. But I think I was with my in-laws the other night, and we were celebrating a 10th birthday. My nephew Tucker turned 10 last Wednesday. So we all went out to dinner, and Kellen was happy because he got to see his cousin and play with his cousin. But anyway, getting back to the whip, this is very colorful yarnings out of New Mexico. I got this yarn off Etsy. This is the S'mores colorway. And I thought the stripes would be thinner, but I like the thick stripes. And so I did the same thing that I did with my strawberry shortcake socks. I did 10 rows of ribbing, 40 rows of the foot, 40 rows for the leg, and then now I'm on the gusset. And I'm in the same place where I am on my strawberry shortcake socks. But, so I will be done with the gussets tomorrow, and I will then knit on the foot until I get to my toe decreases and do all that. But I still have to do the second socks. You know, it's a little bit of a break. It's nice to knit socks in tandem because it gives you a little bit of a break from the one colorway and you can work on the other colorway. But the next project that I have is in my yarn pop bag, messenger bag, that I got when they were having a sale. So this is The Ex-Boyfriend by Jennifer Beavers. I like this pattern a lot. It's mindless. I really don't have to count stitches or rows. I just weigh the ball as I go. So this is for my mother-in-law for Christmas. This is Kickapoo sock, Ewetopia, in the maple bloom colorway. So this color is very much my mother-in-law, and I had trouble picking out a colorway for her, and so I sent her a picture and I said, pick a colorway, and that'll be your Christmas present. I'm not telling you what I'm knitting out of it. So this is the shawl, but it's knit this way. So because I don't feel like this project is growing, that's what the yellow stitch marker is. And then I have the red stitch marker on this side to tell me when to decrease. So it's a free pattern. So you knit front back. You knit front back, your first stitch, and then you go all the way over here and you knit two together. That's how you get the bowing of the thing. And then you turn it around. And you knit until you reach your last stitch. And then you knit front back. So that's another project I'm focused on right now. And then yesterday I got up early in the morning. I didn't want to knit on socks. I didn't want to knit on the shawl. So I was driving myself crazy. I picked out about 4 different colors, 6 different skeins. And I was on the phone with my friend Melissa. And I'm like, I'm going to take pictures and you tell me what looks right. You tell me if this looks right or if that looks right, you know? So I ended up putting all those colors away because I casted this on. This is the Welted Cowl. It's by Jane Richmond. Basically, it's a knit and purl cowl. Let's pull this out of here. Basically, you knit, I think it's a free pattern, but it's called the Welted Cowl, so it looks like it's knit and pearls, and I can't log on right now because I turned my Wi-Fi off. But basically, this is the cat's pajamas yarn that I got from my yarn club a couple years ago. The cat's pajamas. And this is their ragdoll colorway. And when I see ragdoll, I sing Aerosmith. So this is 70/30 superwash and silk, 440 yards. And the recommended size for this yarn is on a 1 or 2 needle. But I cast it on with a 16-inch size 5 triangle needle, and it seems to be going more smoothly than it was on the other needle. But I think I'm going through my yarn that has been sitting in my basket for a while, and I'm like, if it's not going to be socks, then I have 2 baskets on beside my TV. So on the right basket is the superwash nylon yarn that I can make socks out of because it has nylon content in it. On the left I have yarn that I cannot use for socks that just sit in the basket, and I'm like, so I'm going through that basket and I'm like, well, I can make this, I can, it's like, what can I do? It's like, what can I do with it? What can I make with it? So I pulled this out. I pulled a couple skeins out, and one I haven't started yet, but I know it's going to be the Close to You shawl by Justina Lorkowska. And I'm knitting on my mother-in-law's shawl right now, so after I finish that, I'm going to cast that on. And then this ragdoll yarn has been sitting in my basket for, I don't know, a very long time. So I wound it up, and I was going to cast on a rain shawl, but it didn't look right. And it's a single ply yarn. So, you know how when you go to bed at night and you lie there and you're like, oh, whatever is on your mind when you go to bed at night is keeping you awake. So I talk to my friend, I usually talk to Melissa before I go to bed at night, and I say to her, she usually is a good person to call and wake me up in the morning too. So around 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and I'm like, that's it. I'm going to make a cowl out of that yarn, because it was bugging me what I have been working on. So I think that's about all I have for my whips. I pulled out the instant coffee soft rollers out of the Posiden colorway because I'm going to use that colorway for something else. But I need to finish. I need to finish what's over here first. So come on. My cat is wanting to be petted. So anyway, why don't we get into general chatter? So since I last talked to you, I told you that Tucker turned 10. I was when we first moved here, he was almost 3, and we were expecting Kellen. So they're about 3 years apart, and we went to Cracker Barrel. We went to Cracker Barrel, and we went to we had dinner there, and family lives so close to you, but you have your everyday things and you have your routines, and you barely see one another. So that's what happens to us. And so we were sitting there and we're chatting away, and then we realized that we don't have any food. And it's just like, oh, what's going on? Here, the computer never registered our ticket. So we got our meal comped that night. And we're walking around. We're walking around the general store after we ate. And I rode home with my sister-in-law because she lives in the same town that I live in. I live down the road from them. And my mother-in-law lives closer to the restaurant that we went. So it was very nice, and Tucker spent his birthday money on 3 different guns. He has, and there were 6 of us, so it was Danny, it was my sister-in-law, my grandmother-in-law, my mother-in-law, and me, and Tucker, and Kellen. And then yesterday I went to the doctor to get my MRI results for my heel pain that I've been dealing with all summer. So he tells me I had the beginnings of plantar fasciitis, which okay, but I'm still having pain. Why am I still having pain? So he examines my foot and it gave me a cortisone shot. It's not very fun. It burns. It makes your foot sore. It makes me very, very sore. And the last doctor that I saw for this wasn't going to give me one because they thought, oh, well, if you do this and you do this, then you'll be healed. Well, I wasn't healed. And I'm still not healed, and I know that I wanted to get a cortisone shot since like May. I'm like, give me the shot, And last night I'm texting Melissa and I'm like, I really wanted the shot, but it really doesn't. Hopefully my heel pain goes away. They will follow up in 2 weeks to see how it works, but today it's not as sore as I had in the past, but still it's a little bit of pain. And then Kellen, let's see. He loves first grade. They have an app on that the teachers use to communicate with you. It's called Class Dojo. Well, Class Dojo, you can. He gets points. He gets points for like every day, and then if he does something wrong, he gets docked a point. Well, my friend told me a few weeks ago that if he gets docked for talking in class, be thankful that that's the only thing that happens, because it could be much worse. And I agree with her. But that's my baby, and whenever I see he gets docked, I'm like, oh, buddy. Yesterday, he didn't get docked at all. But, and then I'm getting ready for the craft show at my sister-in-law's bed and breakfast here in Red Lion. I'm going to start, well, I don't really need to start anything. I just need to tag everything and write out my price list for my brother-in-law and do all that. And I have a month to do that, so I'm really not too keen. I mean, too keen is the wrong word. I'm really not stressed over it because I have everything done. So, and if I make anything else, I'll just take it up later. And that's what I told my sister-in-law the other night when we were talking about the craft show at the table. I said, you know, I have this many hats, and if I make anything else, I'll just bring it up and give it to Georgie, my brother-in-law. And my brother-in-law is going through stuff right now with his father. His father was diagnosed with skin cancer, and he had something removed back in March, and it came back. So they're doing more aggressive treatments for him right now. But that's about it. You know, one of my very best friends who was in my wedding turned 50 on Monday. So, happy birthday, Jen. And my mother started dyeing yarn. So I have an Etsy store, and if she dyes yarn, she started dyeing yarn with Kool-Aid, and is sending me a few skeins, all the skeins that she sent me, and that she dyed. And the first batch I will not put in my Etsy store, but if I really don't, if she dyes it and it's really not my color or something, I will offer it to my mother-in-law, because my mother-in-law knits too. She hasn't been knitting for a while because they moved over to summer, and she's trying to get everything hung up, and she feels like she's going through a divorce too. So she feels like she's being pulled every which way, and I feel really bad for my mother-in-law. She's very good to me. And but yeah, I think that's about it. That's all that I have. I casted on another sweater, the Harkin pullover. It was in the Webb's catalog. It's it has eyelets down here, but I have a sweater quantity worth of worsted yarn that I bought a while ago. I was going to make another hitchhiker out of it, but I'm like, this would look really pretty in a sweater. And blue's my favorite color. So anyway, I hope that you are well, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Happy knitting.